Hey, what's up you guys? How you guys doing today? This video was actually unplanned. Um so I'm actually doing this by myself. Sorry there's no music and I'm not a perfect YouTuber. But the whole purpose of making this video is just to find out about and I've seen people making, their own experience of what quarantine has been, especially for them. So I was kind of saying, hey, you know what? Why didn't I do one myself? Which actually seems like a perfectly good idea about my own thoughts and views. By the way, some context that I do raise in this thing. I know there'll be many differences of opinion in this video. I should warn you as a disclaimer. Many of you might not agree to some of my ideas, some of my thoughts. Um, to be honest, if you do not like it, I suggest you to either accept the fact that you know what it is going to happen. It is what it is. It's based on my personal views. It's not jeopardizing yours, and I do wish that you guys also respect my opinions as well. This is not a battle of who's wrong or who's right. It's just my own personal opinion of my own experience in quarantine, and how what were the after effects and how did I personally feel about it. So on the end of March, I think it was the last week of March, I was sent a letter by my GP, telling me about the different telling me about about the things that were happening, especially with me, and about government guidelines, um, and to to stay at home, take precautions, the whole quarantine thing. And I never knew, they never gave the reason why. I was just told by my mom to stay at home, that I couldn't go out. Now, for a person who's very outdoorsy, especially when the sun is out. As you know, I live in England. I don't, and as you know, in England, we don't really get the sun out much often, apart from the summer where we get glorious sun, like you can just see out my window here. Um, so yeah, so I couldn't go out. And I was supposed to be for about 2 months, in a month or 2 months, I can't remember which, in quarantine, which means I couldn't go out. And the only place that I did have access to breathe the outside air is my backyard, which I'm very thankful that we did get the house that I'm currently living in. Because we do have a backyard, and it's good. You need some fresh air. So without further ado, initially I adapted to the whole idea of having of actually being in quarantine. It wasn't a bad idea. At the time, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Could stay at home. You know what? I thought of it as a challenge. I was like, oh, this is not going to affect me. Personally, I've been at home since August without a job, which is why I started doing music videos. Oh, by the way, if you do check out my music videos, please go to Sinclair Lewis, where I usually will be posting this video as well, on YouTube. That's my YouTube name, Sinclair Lewis. If you do get a chance to go and visit, please go and subscribe to my channel. A lot of stuff coming your way. I might do weekly vlogs. So yeah, let's see what happens. So yeah, coming back. So the first thing that actually happened was that I was like, oh, okay. This was my first week out. My first week that I was in the house. Couldn't go out anywhere apart from the backyard. Um, and initially I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna sit. I'm just gonna, just gonna relax. Put my feet up. Watch some comedies on TV. Which was like, yeah, a good way of relaxing. Sort of a thing. Not knowing that this would affect me in the long run. I thought this was a short period of time, and I said, oh, you know what, what's a month gonna do? And even before also, I was like I said earlier, I was at home for quite a long time, because I was jobless. Um, so, but over time, things started to get to me. This is where things started to go bad. Um, Initially, people did tell me, they were like, Sinclair, you know what, I don't think that this is right, because I've always seen you as the type of guy who goes out to London, who goes out and clicks pictures with your camera, and then you upload them on Instagram and on Facebook. And I was like, yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm actually that sort of a person. And and they did tell me, they did warn me, they said it was going to hit me one day, when it came to, like, the different side effects of what happened when you stay at home. Now, little did I know, or little did I take this seriously. um what happened was, after some time, whenever I would ask my mom, oh mom, can I go out, like, just to the park, she'd go, Sinclair, you can't go out. So I'd be like, okay, the first time, okay, the second time. But then after, I started to feel the brunt of it, like, where my dad and my sister would go out, and I would just be at home. And I couldn't go out. I couldn't even go for a drive. I couldn't do anything. My whole plan was to just sit in the house. Now, it's strange actually that, I started having different type of emotions. I started getting irritated. I started getting depressed. I started getting, because I was whole day in the house. Most of the time, my parents were working from home. As you know, with COVID-19, many parents are asked to work from home. Um, and yeah, my folks were given that opportunity to work at home because they weren't key workers. Um, so with that being said, um, yeah, I had a lot of a lot of, negative energy in me. There were times also, because they were at home, that I couldn't even drum, so I had to. I am a drummer and a musician by profession, and then I couldn't drum and all that, because of the noise. I do have a very lovely electronic kit, the Roland TD-25, which I'd actually bought as a graduation present. So I did not actually have uh the the benefit of actually, playing stuff in my own time. So my whole routine schedule of me, how I should do things normally when they were at work, got disrupted. I'm a person who does, I'm a very routine sort of a person, where I know, like, okay, if I'm going to be doing this, in a certain amount of time, bang, 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 but yeah, I couldn't do any of those things. And then, where I couldn't do any of those things, and it disrupted my routine of what I was doing, I started to get really irritated, ranting off, raving off, um, trying to see if I could, I mean, not go to the extremes, obviously, but you know what? I was just annoyed at the fact that I was supposed to be staying. I'm still staying at home, although I'm allowed once a week out. Thank God for that. But the thing is, it's quite difficult staying at home. There are many things to consider when you are at home. Like, see, I'm lucky that I have a drum kit and an Xbox, but it was quite difficult staying at home. And I do tell people this also as well. People who just sit at home, and the thing is, I'm not a guy from birth who used to uh, be at home and be on the Xbox. I was always outside. I was always playing with my friends. So for me to stay at home was kind of difficult, because usually what I used to do, and now also that my foot is healed, I don't know if you guys heard. I've just a brief thing that I had sprained my leg. I wasn't able to walk for almost 2 years. Was on crutches. I just got off the crutches last year in 2019 July, and yeah, that's what. Yeah, so I mean, initially, like, when I see the news now, and, like, people are still going crazy, it kind of reflects back to, basically, I didn't go to that extent of what you see, or the drastic things that you see on the news. But the thing was that it does uh, get to you. This COVID-19 thing was just, in my defense, it was just utterly annoying. Because, and it was actually, I had mixed emotions when this whole COVID thing happened. It was like people losing their jobs. There was nothing There were no jobs available. People were dying. That was the most important thing. I mean, people just losing their lives, and this thing just going on a free. And the thing is that I'm a person for justice, and thing is, when people were just losing their lives with COVID-19 and all that, like, I mean, if it was a person, but now I would have just said, give him a life sentence. But the thing is that COVID has taken power over many people, and I'm really sorry to the victims that did have to go through this. Um, but yeah, also another thing that I would want to say was the fact that when I had put my views out on Facebook, now Facebook is a place where many people they go and they put their own views. That's why it's written what's on your mind, which means basically it's on your wall and not somebody else's. Little did I know that I mean, I'm not gonna say that you can never have an argument, but there is a way of arguing. But when I did blame China, because this did happen in China, um, of the the things that were happening, because the thing is, I am an animal activist, and I do know, and most of my friends also are animal activists, and I do know for the fact that they do stuff to animals unethically that could have caused this virus, and the Chinese actually were responsible, because when I did watch the news, I did watch BBC News, and we came to know where this virus was back in the end of Feb, if I believe it was correct. Yeah, the end of Feb. Um, I mean, it was my own personal views, and I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry again if this is a sensitive issue. I suggest you don't watch it. But again, like I'm gonna be repeating again and again, this is my own personal opinion of my own experience of what I thought quarantine was and what the whole thing was. So I did put out a thing, like a thing saying that China was to blame. Now, there were a couple of my US friends, for some reason, who did, think China was out to blame, which was fine because it's your opinion. What I didn't like with the comments that were read on which that were put on Facebook, were the was the fact that they just didn't respect mine. And the thing was that I mean, you know who you are. I'm not going to name you out and name and shame you in this video, because of my professionalism. I'm not going to do that. But I do know who you are. And I'm glad that we are not talking on separate terms, because the thing is that if you can't respect somebody's opinion, then I don't see you as my friend. If I respect yours, I expect mutual respect for mine as well. So, with that being said, yeah, I mean, somebody's got to take a blame when the gov when something's involved. You can't go all your life thinking that if something is not right, that oh, everyone becomes a goody two shoes at the end of the day. You have to take responsibility. If that was the case by now, I would have not been the type of person who was brought up with correct manners. Like if I went and did something bad, and then when I said I didn't do it, that would be denying the fact that I did do it in the first place, and that would also be a lie. And the thing is that if you are called out upon for certain things and all, I expect you to do the same and say, what, Sinclair, yes, our country did have a thing, but going and telling me and contradicting my beliefs and telling me that, oh, China was not involved with the coronavirus and it was just a bug in the air and a government thing. I'm like, the news very well said it did. It is what it is. The news is one of the reasons people watch the news is that you're to get information, to get out what's happening. The news is just not gonna make things up, because by then we would have riots in the news center. So to be honest, what I did see on the news basically, and what I did think that when China was responsible for the whole COVID-19 thing, and when my friend and I had a discussion about it, who shall remain anonymous for safety guidelines, um, that he said the same thing. Being an animal activist himself, he said that like, yes, they do kill animals, they do promote animal cruelty and all, and they eat stuff such as bats and all this, which means it did come from China. Now, many of the people who did say that it did come from China, I mean, it's a debate, it's a discussion. I know some people can't do can't say much, about about different things. But the thing is that somebody's got to take the blame, when it comes to this whole thing. Because I did point out to people saying I would not just simply be blaming a country based on the COVID-19 thing. Um, I would look at the facts of how bad this has affected, looking at the looking at the side effects of what COVID-19 has done to the economy is pretty bad. I mean, people have been put on furlough. People are asked to work at home. People are only asked to go out if they wanted to go out, especially wasting lovely sunny days like this, like the one I have today. As you can see, the sun's still. I mean, what it's like 8 something now, and it's still falling on my. The sun's still falling on my face. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm just thinking to myself, like, I mean, please feel free to, view your thoughts on this matter. But I do believe, and I don't change my opinion anymore, that I did believe that the Chinese were responsible for this whole thing, especially in China. China was responsible for this whole COVID-19 thing. But to go and tell me one thing and say that China wasn't responsible for the COVID-19, I'm just like, what kind of fucking dreamland are you in? You know? Uh, so, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's sorry, I didn't mean to rant and rave, but yeah. So it initially did get to me, at least now that I'm a bit calmed down with the whole thing. I'm just like, whatever it is. Because the thing was, this has not just affected people's economies and people's emotions. I mean, trust me, um, our street didn't have much of crime since the COVID situation happened, but since it did, there was a lot of arrests on our streets. There was a lot of people just getting, angry and attack. And I think all these people, the reason people did this was because of the fact that they were asked to stay at home, and some of them don't have a luxurious, I mean, a nice big enough well-to-do home as I do. I've been in that situation where I did live in an apartment before. And the thing is, I just, yeah, I do know what they would feel. I mean, obviously, I mean, I wouldn't justify their actions and say, yeah, they were right in doing what they were doing. But I would just say, this is how it affects people mentally, especially with what happened in the news recently, also as well, in parts of Reading, which I don't want to discuss again, but I'm just gonna put out there. I mean, people take these type of things, stay at home in a different way. There are not many people who just like to stay at home. I mean, yeah, I get that, staying at home sort of thing. You do get, um, it is government guidelines. You have to, if you're asked to stay at home, you're asked to stay at home. Who are you to argue? But I mean, if especially if it's, for your own safety. But it just really got to me, at one point, and I was just like, I just really had the whole, and I prayed for the day basically that I was actually allowed to go out once a week. So yeah, with that being said, I mean, I do hope this COVID situation ends. I do, on a good note, I do hope this COVID situation ends. I do hope that people are allowed to go back to work, because the thing is that at this current moment, there are many people out there who have just lost their jobs. They've just, some of them don't even have furlough. I don't know. I mean, I know many of them are being put on furlough. But I do hope sincerely, and I do pray that, that, we get back to our normal lives. I hope they do also come out of the vaccine, because the thing was, I was supposed to be doing my masters somewhere come September, uh, at Reading University. And the thing is, I just did not, yeah, I just didn't even submit my application in, because I stayed at home when I was at my doing my bachelor's at university for 3 years. I wouldn't really say it was my, well, I wouldn't really say it was the best experience I had. But I mean, because the whole point of university is where you go and you mix around with students your age. I really did have that, and I just wanted to move out of my folks' house, because now I was old enough to take care of myself independently. And and my folks did tell me, Sinclair, if you do want to go here, you can. So I finally, by God's grace, uh, did get the opportunity. But now that COVID's done, I don't know if I'll be able to do my masters, because I just don't want to do it online. I want to go to the university that I want to go, get the experience, mix around with people that I can mix around with. But yeah, I just did not. That's why I just decided not to do my masters this year. The another reason why I didn't decide to do it was I'm a bit skeptical, because they did say at the two universities that I did go to, which was Reading and Nottingham Trent University, where they said that I did need to have um work experience. So I didn't. So because I didn't have work experience, I just didn't go for it. But yeah, but I mean, I just hope this thing. But the thing is that, I mean, to all these people who did criticize my views and say they wanted to come back to being friends, I would have to say no. I'm not gonna be your friend anymore, because when I did contradict China and say that they were responsible for the whole COVID-19 thing, and these people kept saying stop blaming them um unjustly, for because it's not just not right, and didn't know how to respect my opinion, because my opinion was based on the news. uh I'm not going to take those people back. First and foremost, I'm just not gonna not even gonna uh not even bother to even make eye contact with them. It's good that we've parted our separate ways. um and I would like to have people who are my friends who think the same as me. I'm not saying that we should like hate on China or something. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that when you're wrong, when you've done something wrong, you're wrong. you know Wrong is never right, right is never wrong. Wrong is wrong, right is right, as I always believe that. um so yeah, without further ado, I hope you guys like this video. Do subscribe to my music channel, or my YouTube channel, which is Sinclair Lewis, Sinclair Sinclareluis, for more details. If you have any comments on your own personal views of how COVID-19 has impacted you guys, then yeah, feel free to drop a comment in the video below. But be safe and rock on, and God bless. Cheers.